U.S. Women's Open taking place at Lancaster Country Club this week in Pennsylvania. Madelene Sagström will be amongst those who will be playing a winner on the LPGA, a three-time member of the European Solheim Cup team amongst her various credits, a player that absolutely has very much been in the mix of late. 3 top 10 so far in 2024, including a runner-up, the Cognizant Founders Club, just a few weeks ago. She's currently 12th in the CME standings. She's 35th in the Rolex World Rankings and very much in the mix, too, of getting back to the Olympic Games, representing Sweden, as we're going to be having those games, of course, on the men's and women's sides relative to golf coming up from outside of Paris this summer. Pleasure to have Madelene join us on the program right now. Madelene, how are you at this point in your preparation for the U.S. Women's Open? Where do you feel like your game and your thoughts are just out in front of what will be the competition starting on Thursday morning?
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's I've actually been on site for a little bit. I played 14 holes yesterday. I actually walked the golf course on Sunday with my mom, so I have a fair idea what's needed. It's a very unique place, very cool golf course. It's gonna be a big test. So I'm trying to pace myself a little bit. It's easy to overdo major weeks. So right now I'm just having a little chilled morning, and I've got to play 9 holes this afternoon.
Well, when you describe the golf course as unique and cool, those 14 holes that you've played, and we have a lot of video that can support as you're talking about it. Could you kind of describe to us the character of the golf course, the topography of it, how the greens are structured on an old structure like that in terms of how they're raised? Just kind of take us through the unique designs.
Well, first of all, the golf course is quite hilly. Like, I didn't realize how hilly it was to walk. I mean, you don't really play that much elevation. Some holes you do, but you're gonna have a lot of uneven lies. The rough is extremely thick, and I think I saw them cut it Sunday, so I feel like that could be the last time they cut it for the week. You can get a
Wow.
lot of really bad lies. We had one. It's just like, well, we're just gonna chip out with a little sandwich here because some of them are gonna get really thick. And the undulations on the greens, like, they have a lot of big running slopes. So it's like hitting fairways is going to be key. Ball striking this week is going to be absolute key. I mean, you're going to have to make up and downs around the greens, but it's so hard to judge how the ball's going to lie in that rough. So hitting fairways and greens are going to be key.
Last time the U.S. Open was here was in 2015, and at that time, the crowds were well in excess of 100,000 people came out to see you guys. What is the sense when you're there now in terms of kind of the buzz about the area and the excitement about the U.S. Women's Open returning?
Well, it's a really neat little town. I was here, like, I got here Friday and spent some time with my mom and just hung out, kind of got the feel of Lancaster. And it's really nice. I think everyone's super excited for it to be here. The grounds are beautiful. The walk is beautiful. So we're hoping for big crowds. There hasn't been any yet so far, since I'm assuming it hasn't opened to the public yet. So it's going to be lovely to see. I have a few friends coming in town, so it's going to be a nice walk for them, and hopefully not see us make too much fool of ourselves.
When you look at the progression, Madelene, of your career, do you have a sense that you're on the verge of breaking through and doing truly great things? Because from an outside perspective, a fan's perspective, if you please, watching you, it seems like so many professional athletes that it tends to be a step by step. It tends to be an ascension. And it feels to us like you're right on the threshold. What does it feel like to you?
I feel like I've been on the threshold for a while. No, I think it's hard. I mean, you play against the best players in the world every single day, and everyone is so good. I think all of us would love to have a Nelly Korda streak that she's on right now. So I think it's I mean, I've always been happy with if I can keep getting a little bit better every single day. That's been my whole goal, and I've gotten better every single year. Not all combined, but overall, my game has gone better. Of course, I would love to see a few more wins already, but I know I'm on the bubble to do great things, and I've had a really good career. I'm really proud of what I've done. So I think that if I just keep doing what I'm doing, I have a lot more in the tank.
You just mentioned what Nelly was doing as a Nelly Korda streak, to use the phrase that you used. Is it at a point with what Nellie's doing where you as a fellow competitor look at her and go, oh, I can't do that, whatever aspect that you refer to, I can't do that. I can do what I do, but she does, like people used to be about, say, Tiger or different players and going, I can't do that, but I can do what I do well. Is there something about Nellie that you as a competitor look at right now and go, now she's on a different level than the rest of us in that particular area?
Yes and no. I think that, I mean, her game is so unbelievably consistent. The way she strikes the golf ball, I know she's worked really hard on her putting, and now she's putting really, really well. I think that it's kind of been for a while, everyone's been wondering if it's possible to do what Tiger did. And now I think now with Scotty and Nelly, I think this is maybe the modern generation's version of a Tiger or a Jack Nicklaus or an Arnold Palmer kind of thing. So I think it's very inspiring to see. I know she's extremely mentally strong. I mean, you've even seen some of the tournaments she's won. She's been 2 over par in her first 9 holes, first day. And I think that maybe, I mean, myself included, would have maybe started fighting a little bit harder if I'm feeling a little bit like I'm not really there. My game is not really there. So I think that she's so incredibly strong. She believes so much in her game that she keeps fighting no matter what. And I think that's something that all of us try to do, but it's sometimes not that easy to do. So, but I also believe that confidence brings confidence, like results makes you confident. So, I mean, when you're on that high, you're just trying to keep that going as much as you can.
Madelene, when you're talking about, because you started mentioning some all-time great names in golf, right? But whether you're talking about, your fellow Swede in Annika, or whether you're talking about Tiger, or whether you're talking about Jack, or whether you're talking about Mr. Palmer or whoever it is, Ben Hogan back in the day, every one of those players carried with them at a certain point of accomplishment, they carried with them the air of intimidation, whether it was deliberate on their part, whether they tried to channel it or not. And even Jack Nicklaus, as gracious as he was to his competitors, that you remember the old quote, you knew Jack was going to beat you, Jack knew that Jack was going to beat you, and Jack knew that you knew that Jack was going to beat you. So is there with Nelly Korda yet a kind of brewing intimidation that just carries with her because of who she is and what she's done?
I think so. I don't think she's not so, I mean, she's not verbally saying things. She's not, I mean, she is super gracious. She handles herself so nicely. So it's not something that's in your face, but when you know that when you stand up there and when she stands on the tee, she's going to do everything she can to win. So I think it's that little silent one, kind of under, like just within her, that's super strong, that she really carries herself and she just believes in herself and her game so much.
Madeline, it was fun before the break because we were talking about all-time greats, and isn't it interesting how they all become first name people, right? Babe, Nancy, Annika, Tiger, Jack, Arnold. Even you, when you were talking about Nelly, you said Scotty. Never said his last name. We all knew exactly who you were talking about, and they're already becoming kind of first name. So you have a great first name. How and why? Let us inside your head. Let us inside your heart. How and why can you become one of the greats?
I think that I have, if you just look game wise, I have a very good all around game. I'm a good solid athlete in what I do, and I think that that is probably one of my strengths. I think that if I can get ahead a little closer to Nelly, I think that I can do great things too. Would love to be a one name person. It would be fantastic. I think that just I need to start believing a little bit more in my game, like the rest of my team does and everyone around me. I think that sometimes I've been very hard on myself my whole life, and I get very critical of what I do, and I strive for perfection. And I think that sometimes under the gun, you don't need perfection. I'm starting to realize that now. Comes with age and experience, I guess. But I think that's probably the biggest thing that I need to learn.
Have you found, particularly now when a person's thoughts, a person's emotions, a person's well-being, a person's mental health is something that we can all openly discuss without a stigma, more so than probably ever before, at least amongst the professional ranks of golf. Do you find that that is something that's important, that you make sure that you do have that supportive team around you? Maybe it's a sports psychologist, or maybe it's a combination, caddy, coach, family, friends, team, etc. That it's important for all of us to have that, so people can go, no, no, you need to make sure that you continually realize your worth, that you're there for a reason, and you wouldn't be there unless you were capable.
I think so. I think that it's I mean, I've openly shared my story and my struggles in the past, and I think that it's one of those things that when you realize, like, golf is great, golf is so much fun, it's what I love to do, but in the end of the day, I just try to be a better human being every day. I try to love myself more. I try to be happy with the choices that I make and who I try to be. And I think that that's, I mean, it's a hard world we live in already. I know that it's been a lot of talk about. I mean, Grace and Murray on the PGA Tour last weekend, this past weekend, and it's incredible, sad to see, and I feel for everyone. I think that this is when it becomes more than golf. This is when, in the end of the day, we all want to play like Nelly, but I also want to enjoy my time here on earth, and I think that that's kind of becomes more important sometimes, and it's important that it's talked about. It's important that we all know that we're all more than just golfers. We're human beings that are trying to play a very, very difficult sport.
Yeah, kind of shared that with us too when we opened, because you mentioned a couple of times to us that you were on the golf course with your mom. And when you take a step back and realize, we're talking about a professional athlete playing in a major championship, and your first look at the golf course was stride by stride with your mother. I mean, that in and of itself is pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it's I've been away from home for a long time. I moved to America in 2011, and it's not hard. It's not that easy to see family. So I think that I take every opportunity that I can to spend time with the people that I love, and just having her with me, it's great. We get to experience a lot of things. Who knew that she never thought she was ever going to end up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania? So I think it's just fun to have these experiences together. Like, we make sure we do things along the way that we enjoy, and I think it makes myself value myself more as a human being and not just a golfer.
How much are you excited about the possibility, the prospect of the Olympic Games and representing your home country? And then I would love to segue that into what it feels like when you are representing continental Europe with the Solheim Cup.
I think that it was very interesting in Tokyo. It was one of those dreams that you didn't realize you had. Since we could never dream of Olympics growing up. I dreamt about Solheim Cups, I've dreamt about majors, but Olympics was something that I never dreamt about. So when I was on site, I was like, yeah, this is pretty cool. But now afterwards, it's like, I'm Olympian now. Like, I've done one of the biggest things that's in sports over the board. So I think it's one of those honors that you'll never take back. Like, every time I represent Sweden, it's a huge honor. I feel a huge privilege to do that, including Solheim Cup. It's one of those things that I've dreamt about it. I've seen the camaraderie, I've seen the feistiness and the competition over the years, and I've been fortunate to play three, and I'm hoping to play my way into a fourth one. But it's just one of those, like, you feel so much pride having those opportunities to represent both your country and your continent.
Do you have, when you're practicing, or maybe it's a practice round, it may not even be in a tournament week or what have you, but do you have a go-to in your AirPods? Is there something that you listen to that kind of gives you focus or gives you release, however, whatever motivation you have? What's the soundtrack for practice for Madelene Sagström?
The ones who knows me, that I am not great with music. I have actually I'm useless at music, and I don't listen to music very often. So
Oh,
I'm more of a picture person. So I do have like a little album on my phone of some of my favorite memories on the golf course, and playing golf, and some of the great things that I've done. So I more tend to go back to look at pictures and videos of myself playing good golf, and spending time with the people that I love.
so where is it that you go to emotionally then? Are you a person that likes to look at the horizon, at the mountains, at the sea, or is it just that you find your happy place looking at the beauty of God's gardens at a golf course?
A little bit of both. I think that I like when I'm in more of when I try to inspire myself to play good golf, I look at the good rounds that I played. My mom, like I said, she loves golf, and she's taken a lot of videos of me on TV. So I have a lot of videos of myself playing golf on TV. So I tend to go back to my win at Boca Rio a lot, see how I composed myself, how did I walk, how did I act, and stuff like that. And that's because I knew I played well there, and I performed under the gun, and I performed under a lot of pressure. So those are the things that I do to try to inspire myself to see how I handle myself.
Very cool. Your sponsors are someone that we always like to ask professionals about when you come on, because it's our way of saying thank you to you for giving us some time, so you can say thank you to all of them. You want to tell us about who you're associated with?
And I've had a great team of a lot of sponsors that have followed me from the start. Callaway, I've been working with for a long time. They've been super great to me. Great network. Barbasol has been that. They're probably one of my first sponsors. Some newer ones to the team: Thermos, Store Capital. I work with IB Cool. It's just nice to have people in your ball court. A lot of these are personal friends to me that grown relationships over the years, and it's just nice that you have people there to support you through the ups and the downs, because that's what golf is about.
When you hear fans, or when fans hear the name Madelene Sagström, what do you want them to think? What's the first thing that you want them to have come to mind when they hear your name?
Oh, that's such a hard question. I think that I want to be looked at. My hope is to be somebody that, no matter like the ups and the downs, that I've always handled myself nicely. I've been a kind, generous, good person. I think that that's probably the most important thing to me. I would love for people to know me for some of my parts of my game, and how I played and results that I've had. But I think in the end of the day, if when I hear she's really nice, I enjoy that. And not to try. I mean, I don't always try to be nice just to be nice, just to hear that. But I just being a nice, considerate person that loves this game. I think that's being a good representative of women's golf is something that I would love to strive to be.
There is no doubt that there is a real authenticity there, Madelene. We believe in you. There are many that do. This could be a great week for you. You're continuing to knock on the door. That ascension is clear to all of us. We all do hope that you believe, because you deserve to. You've done the work. You have the game for it. So go out there and prove it to yourself, prove it to the world, and do the things that you are capable of which we say thank you for the time that you've given us today. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate it.